Tansi. Welcome to the Maskwacis Cultural College video learning tool. In this tutorial, you will learn the basics of how to create a reference page according to the APA 6th edition guidelines. On your reference page, write the word references centered at the top of the page. For each reference entry, use a hanging indent flush to the left margin of the page. This means that the first line of each entry is not indented and falls alongside the regular 1-inch margin of the document, but the second and subsequent lines of the entry are indented by 1/2 an inch. It almost looks like the second and subsequent lines of the entry are hanging off the first line. To create a hanging indent in Microsoft Word, select all the text you want to apply the indent to. Click on View in the top menu and then select Ruler from the drop-down menu. Drag the lower marker, this is the hanging indent marker, and move it 1/2 an inch to the right. It might take a few tries as it is pretty easy to pull both markers by accident. This is something that's easiest to do to your reference entries all at once when you have completed your reference list, rather than doing this entry by entry. Authors' names are written inverted with the last name, then a comma, then the author's initials with a period after each initial. If there are 2 to 7 authors, list all the authors separated with commas after the period of each one's last initial, and then put an ampersand between the last 2 authors. If there are more than 7 authors, list the first 6, followed by an ellipses, and then the last author's name and initial. References are listed with the author's last name and initials, the date of the publication, the title of the work, and then depending on the format of the source, the specifics change. One note applicable to all references is that some works will not be dated. For these, you can use N period, D period, in between parentheses, after the author's names. This stands for no date. Coming up are some basic examples of different types of references, but you can find more detailed information for how to reference different source types on the OWL Purdue Online Writing Lab website. Books are cited with the author's last name, a comma, their initials with a period after each one, the year of publication in parentheses, followed by a period, the title of the work in italics, a period, the location of the publisher, a colon, the publisher's name, and then a period. Journal articles are cited with the author's last name, then a comma, then their initials, period, the year of the publication in parentheses followed by a period, the title of the article, then a period, then the title of the journal or periodical in italics, then a comma, then the volume number also in italics, then the issue number in parentheses, not italicized, followed by a comma, then the page numbers, and finally a period. If a digital object identifier, or DOI, is assigned to the article or book, include this after the page numbers. A DOI is a unique alphanumeric string assigned by a registration agency to identify content and provide a permanent online location for the content. Publishers assign DOIs when articles are made available in electronic format. The DOI can usually be found on the first page of the article near the copyright notice. Here is an example of a reference for a journal article with a DOI. Sometimes DOIs begin with HTTP:// a hypertext transfer protocol. Note that you do not have to write the words retrieved from if the article has a DOI. If the journal article does not have a DOI assigned to it and you accessed it from the internet, then you must include the URL at the end after the page numbers and precede this with the words retrieved from. Newspaper articles are cited with the author's last name, then a comma, then their initials, period, then the date of the publication in parentheses, including the year, comma, then the month and the day, followed by a period, then the title of the article, then a period, then the title of the newspaper in italics, period, then the page numbers, and concluded with a period. If the article falls on multiple pages, write the page numbers with 2 P's, like this. Articles from a magazine are cited similarly to newspaper articles and include the full date. However, if the issue number is available, write this preceding the page numbers. For both newspaper and magazine articles found online, include the URL at the end preceded by the words "retrieved from." Web pages are generally cited with the author's last name, comma, initials with a period after each one, followed by the date the web page was last updated in parentheses. This could be the year or the full date including the month and day. Usually you can find this at the bottom of a web page. Then a period, the title, a period, and then the words "retrieved from" and the URL. If there is no author, start with the title of the web page, then a period, followed by the last update or copyright date in parentheses, then a period, followed by the title of the website in italics, then a period, and finally write "retrieved from" and the URL. References are listed alphabetically by the last name of the first author of each work. If there are multiple works by the same author, list them chronologically from the earliest to the most recent publications. If there are multiple works by the same author or group of authors published in the same year, organize them alphabetically in your reference list and then assign a letter right after the year within the parentheses to distinguish between publications. It is important to note that you must use these letters for the in-text citations of the publications. In the case where you have references that have the same first author, or same first and second author, or even same first, second, and third, but a different fourth author, etc., arrange the references alphabetically by the last name of the first instance of a new appearing author in the list. If they are also the sole author of a work you are referencing, place this work first alphabetically in your reference list. Et cos'e. Now you are ready to create a reference page in the APA style 6th edition.